Join us for an enlightening experience where you will gain a deeper understanding of the purpose and essence of opening your eyes. This is your chance to enhance self-awareness and personal growth with a shift in perception that provides a fresh outlook on life. Embrace the journey from consciousness to superconsciousness. Coming live by Barrett Kunyan.
Here we are.
Here we are. Hello, everyone.
I would like to, Activator would like to welcome the beautiful Olivia, and she has an interesting information to share. You're also known as a plasma facilitator, or if you like, a soul retriever. But before we get into the excitement of going free flow with these sort of areas we will be covering, would you be kind enough just to give a little intro who you are and your presence and what you feel you're assigned to do in terms of... I'd just like to hand the mic to you and just basically go with the flow and tell us your purpose, your role on the planet. Welcome.
So, hello everyone again. I'm so happy to be here today. My name is Olivia, but when it comes to my soul name, I will also cover that a little bit later. My name is Ezayana. I have been in this world quite a long time. I have always felt this wonderful connection with something that I couldn't quite explain. I remember myself in the childhood dancing with the colorful orbs and trying to catch them. It was like a childhood fun, but something deeper, because other people didn't really understand what I was doing at that time. It all started about 3 years ago, even though it feels like it's been forever. I was suffering from great pain, a great physical pain that couldn't be cured, that couldn't be diagnosed. And it hasn't been cured until I actually got this huge awakening to actually who I am, why am I suffering, and what is actually the higher purpose behind this. I was introduced to my personal guardians, higher essences that I'm working with. And I realized that I'm actually a part of the bigger interstellar family. And ever since then, I started to get to know what my soul contract, the contract which each one of us has, and each one of us will eventually discover what my contract is about. And it's actually about assisting this planet to ascend into higher dimensions. And my job here is to actually assist others with removing anything that is on their way that could block their ascension potential.
Well, that was very, very mouth-watering information. I mean, do you feel in the energy of things that there are certain implants or something which is relatively synthetic, which is affecting the observation to bring greater clarity in having the ability to see beyond a certain illusion? Do you feel that, because there's a lot of stories out there, there's different myths, there are people, interpreting certain types of information based on their abilities to siphon information. But I was going to say,
just look at the sky, and it's in most cases covered with something referred as the chemtrails.
Right. Okay.
It could be a conspiracy theory, but as I said, I see a bit more than other people. So I had the chance to experience someone who's traveling a lot in Europe, and he was catching a lot of chips, implants, and that's basically It's crazy because it could get into your brain and affect your thoughts. It could get into your bones and give you any kinds of pain. So this is such a wide topic. So many things to discover here, but yes, we are surrounded with nanotechnology everywhere. And not just the nanotechnology, but it's also something which we cannot quite see, something referred as the astral implants, the etheric implants. This is related to our subtle anatomy and the body layers we have. The astral implants are located in the astral body. They are given to us basically during the dream state, the abductions. This is all real. And the etheric body, you just need to eat some fast food and it could get easily there. Or basically anything that you're doing, you have to be very careful because you never know what you catch somewhere.
What do you feel? Because everybody has their own unique version, but in your humble opinion, what I'm sure it's more than an opinion, but it's what do you feel is the ulterior motive? I mean, what is the grand purpose of this? You know.
Well, I always say that this is the invisible war because it's the war for our souls.
Right.
Because if they just wanted to end it all, you know, there were so many resets, so many cataclysms during this whole time. But now it's different, and it's also related to the Grail quest, which is the quest for the stargates, which are located all around the planet. And if you wanted to access these stargates, you actually already have some of the keys, because these keys are the specific codes which are located in your DNA template. So, and the human race is the only race which actually has the access to these codes. So if they just decided like we're going to end this whole human experiment, they would also lose access to the stargates. And the stargates are giving us an access to other planets, or more like other space times, because this planet is not really like, you know, the way the scientists are showing us. It's more like a flat plane, which has a lot of keys to different other planes in the universe. So yeah, they are trying to manipulate us. They are trying to make us blind. But still, they keep us alive because they need these codes.
So you're saying, in not so many words, it's a kind of like a soul attack. So it's not the physical. They're not after your money. They're not after your body. But
I mean, they try to do it on the physical as well. I mean, they block people trying to spread different kinds of information. They take away your money, so you don't have so many possibilities to spread certain information. But
right.
the real treasure is your soul. Yes.
Okay. I just want to take this opportunity. Now is a good moment to do it as well. It's free flow, so there's no golden rules here in terms of when we should do it, how we should do it.
Totally.
But we'd just like to take the opportunity to thank Brother Lee, who I'm sure is watching this from Alkalize to Realize, because he's a phenomenon, and he helped us with this bridge, this connection. So he's one of the most authentic people I've ever met, and he's a great inspiration. So thank you, Brother Lee, from Alkalize to Realize.
Thank you. Sending you much love and peace.
Yes. So so where shall we go next with this? Because we just kind of like we introduced your energy, but do you want to say something about what you're feeling? Because you also do some readings, right? Reference to the Bioactivator platform. What feelings do you get when you connect yourself with the Bioactivator? Do you feel that it also has an important role? And the other question is, you know where I stand with Bioactivator. It is not my platform, it is our platform. And I'm just the sheer guardian of Bioactivator. So how does that resonate with you? And where do you feel it fits in with humanity at this present moment?
So let me tell you, because in the morning I was talking with one of my spiritual guardians, and he told me that it's an interesting place for my first interview because it's about bioactivator. It's about activating something in your bio field. And that's what also kind of my role is on this planet. I'm supposed to cause in others the activations, not to activate, but to cause the process.
Right.
That's a big difference, because there are many people doing, like, activating chakras. I'm not one of them. I'm only supporting the whole process. Anyways, the bioactivator feels like a great place to actually start your spiritual journey, to activate something within yourself that you could also later share with others.
Yeah. And when it comes to, like, because I look upon this vessel as a biological computer that needs organic Wi-Fi, which I use the word cosmic energy, and it's all around us. So, what tools would you recommend people to become more connected to the cosmic energy? Uh, and you could talk. You could talk from the
Maybe I
simple.
will tell about a little what I'm doing, and because what I'm doing is also related to what I'm saying when it comes to giving advice on exploring yourself better, connecting better with your soul and the cosmos. So basically, I connect with other people's biofields through the link to the plasma body. Because when we are talking about the plasma body, which is a very fascinating topic, we are talking about different aspects of creation. We've got the eternal creation, which is the source. Everything that is here emanated from the source, the eternal creation. Then we have the internal creation, and that's where the plasmas come from, the plasma energies. And then from the internal creation, there's the external creation, which is the light and everything that we are perceiving from here. So basically, the plasma body gives a great imprint to start working with, because it's bringing the energies which aren't reversed, which aren't metatronic, most importantly, because that has been talked a lot recently. People arguing whether Metatron is positive or negative. Let me tell you, it's the entity from the 15th dimension, and it's a fallen angel. So that's definitely not the case with the Metatron. Anyways, when I'm working with the plasma body link, I'm actually bringing the frequencies from the internal creation, which are regenerating all kinds of distortions on the light body anatomy, which is on the external creation level, and it's causing the general harmony in the body. It's possible for me to actually remove any kind of trapped thought patterns, which is often related also to the mental illnesses. We can talk about it later more, because I have a client who has bipolar, and she stopped taking medicine 3 months ago, and we have been working since then. It's actually amazing, because not only my help, but also her personal work with the plasmas enabled her to actually be a lot more aligned with her mind. So basically, what people should do nowadays is to start working with the plasma energies. Because actually what is happening on Earth now is that Earth is activating its plasma body. Normally, Earth would fall. It would fall in 200 years. But we have this situation, it's called the Crystal River fail-safe host, which is talked about by Ashayana Dean in her teachings. And she mentioned that Earth is activating her plasma body so it could actually ascend and align with its component in the internal creation, meaning the plasma body. And we need to kind of synchronize our anatomy because we are connected with Earth all the time. So in order to keep this connection, to keep being aligned with the planet, we also have to activate our plasma bodies.
And what do we need to do on a physical level, energetic level? Do we need to create certain boundaries? Do we need to keep off certain types of food, maybe? Just give sort of a simple step by
Yes.
step.
So basically, I would recommend everyone to look into Ashayana because she has some wonderful meditations. What I feel is the most important these days is actually having your, let's say, 15 minutes of peace, because nowadays we are just crazy, running everywhere, having no time, while actually the plasma frequencies are bringing love and peace. They are the most harmonious frequencies that you could ever connect your body to. So it's about finding the peace within yourself and being in this peace, being in the 0 point where all the forces from the internal and the external creation are actually uniting into one, and you're in this void, and you could be anything, you could find out anything. It's a matter of self-practice. When it comes to the foods, my opinion is this way. The way people eat, it really also depends on their DNA template. Because if you operate at low frequencies, it's normal that you will be attracted to low frequency food. And also eating low frequency food affects your DNA and your energetic levels as well. So for me, it feels like the best way is to eat fresh foods, to eat vegetables, fruit. It's about, most importantly, even having your small space in the garden where you could actually plant something of your own. It's always the best to just like pick up an apple straight from the tree and just eat it because it has the best frequency.
No, that's very good. And yeah, I mean, just to add a little more flavor to that, I mean, my it's your story, but what I also add to that is gratitude. To be, and it's very difficult if you've got, you know, genuine illnesses, and you know, there's so much traumas that humanity's been through, and ups and downs. So I always find space, because all the triggers and people who've come into my life caused a bit of uproar. They've been great teachers, so great mentors, you know. So, and where this platform is, and I'm sure we're on the same page, is to be grounded and to stay neutral, because the temptation is always there. Although evil does exist, but it's how you energize it and how you interact with it. From my understanding is, we don't hate the black or the white. We bring it into order. We bring it into balance. But do you want to add to? I mean, there are certain, because you mentioned earlier about fallen angels. Is it from the 15th dimension?
Okay.
I mean, should we be scared? I mean, is there anything to be really concerned
I mean,
about?
if we are afraid of them, they will come for us. So we cannot
That's
be afraid.
so. That's
You know, the fallen angels, what I meant by that is that we are the angelic humans. We are all angels, and we have the 12-strand DNA. Because that connection to because our universe is composed of 15 dimensions, and like up to dimension 12, we have some forms of materialization. So basically that connection to the dimension 12, which is like the Christ consciousness level, is allowing us...
Sorry to interrupt you. What level is Christ consciousness when you talk about 12?
Dimension 12.
Wow. And may I put you on the spot and say what level you feel you're at? Or is that kind of too much of a question? Or
Okay, so but maybe I will get into that in a moment.
Okay.
Just remind me, because it's
I'm
complex, but yeah, but I want to finish that, because that will also relate to that. So if we have this connection to the Christ dimension, we are fully connected to the source. But these fallen angels, they decided that they want to be egoistic and conquer this universe. So they actually got disattached from that 12. And they actually have 11 or 10 strands. And those are the fallen angels, because they fell from that Christ dimension. And now they are like vampires. They need to feed with energy, and that's why they are here, because they are just draining planet and all kinds of forms of life living here from energy.
So it's not just people, right? Humans.
You know, trees were much larger in the past. They were huge.
Yeah.
People were bigger even. But I'm also often seeing even attachments to animals. So so basically it's happening to every form of life, but the humans are, let's say, their main target, because we still have a lot of these high frequencies that they want to take away from us. And that's why there are so many, let's say, campaigns which are trying to, put different things to our blood. Let's call it this way. I'm sure everyone will get what I mean. And this way, it's going to block our DNA straight on the biological level.
Is there any? Thank you. I'm not changing the subject, but reference to what you just said, reference to this one, which people put a lot into their blood. Do you feel that there's anything they can do to neutralize it? Because I know I speak to a lot of people, and they now have regrets. They felt emotionally blackmailed, and you can use many words to describe how they were cornered into having it, because otherwise they, I mean, a lot of the businesses closed down regardless anyway, but they they were just put, their back was against the wall. And
well, let me say something to those people. Maybe some of them are listening to us. It doesn't mean it's the end. It's actually, you can cure that. It's possible to get cured. And the solution is actually the plasmas, because let me explain what's actually happening on the energetic level when someone takes this elixir, let's call it like that. It depends on what is inside this, because there could be parasites, there could be nanotechnology, I mean chips and stuff, heavy metals for sure, but that's in most vaccines, even for children. But it's also causing the affliction called the dark flowering. It's happening on the plasma body layer, and it's like, you can imagine your plasma body as being like a human shape, but everything is silver, and there are like black holes in it. And also like in the flowers of the chakras, because our plasma body has chakras as well. And these holes are called the dark flower. And what is happening when this dark flower occurs is actually that this person is in danger of being possessed. It could be easily infiltrated.
Did you say possessed?
Yes. I mean infiltration, possessed, like some entity starts to take over your soul. And what happens later is pretty problematic, because as I told you in the beginning, we have the invisible war, and I said they are coming for our souls. So if you connect the facts, this is making it all easier, right? But it's still possible to get it cured. On my healing sessions, I actually managed to heal a few people from that. It's working on the plasma level. It's fixing the possession. That's why I'm also called the soul retriever. It's another term for the exorcist, but it's mostly about taking the entity out of the human body where it's not supposed to be, And it's not like in the horror movies where people are shaking, saying saying weird stuff. It's actually the beautiful art of putting the pink plasma frequency, and the entity there inside the body starts to burn, and it's coming out by itself. So
Okay.
it's not like I'm pushing it by force, by its free will. It cannot stand the frequency, so it's going out. And it's actually, it might be scary at times, but it's actually the wonderful art of person being released from the negative entity, which starts to fully control the mind and the body. So to just summarize what I said, it's all curable with all the plasma technologies which are available on Earth right now.
I mean, anything's curable, right? I mean,
Totally. I mean, there's one exception.
Really? Do you want to add that one?
Yes, because we have to remember about the law of free will. So I had this case where a soul was being like infiltrated, but I couldn't save it because it actually gave up. So if a soul gives up, you cannot do anything because it decided for itself.
What I mean, it's a difficult question to answer, I'm sure, but what makes a soul want to give up? Do you feel from your ability to siphon the frequencies? I mean, what do you, they must be in such a low place that they just throw in the towel and say that game over. Right?
Yes,
Nothing.
but I have also experienced many souls being kidnapped from the bodies, and people are like, living here, but they feel this. It's hard to explain, it's hard to feel it, but they are just feeling empty. They don't know what's going on. And I just tell them, like, you don't have a soul with you. And then it turns out.
I mean, I've heard, because I stay neutral as much as I can. The temptation is always to, I put it into things like, is this organic? Is this inorganic? Is this real? Is this is not real? So when you're interconnecting with people, beings, are there beings right now among us who are keep us in check, like biological robots, absolutely soulless, but they're just keeping us in line to make sure that we're going in one particular direction, and they
There are
look like
some people like this, but we
Mhm.
also have the cases of actually human who are not really human because they have the soul of the fallen angel, for example, a reptile. And it's like they are on the redemption contract, meaning they incarnated in the human body to gain back their ascension potential. And I mean, like getting back this strength 12. And they are here to kind of, try to make it up for the humanity. And because they so decided that it actually doesn't want to fall. But they often struggle a lot in here because they have, a much difficult task to do to actually get back their template in shape and all of that. But they still have the chance.
What little giveaway signs do you feel present that usually is it I mean, with the eye contact, because the meet and greet sometimes, because when I meet a stranger, I just say they're not really, I don't see them as strangers, but I always say hello, and there's an immediate reaction, no hesitation. Whereas the ones that are, shall we say, on the darker end, they they sense something, and they have a deterrent thing there. They don't resonate, and you can
First
see.
of all, such people, let's say people, but yeah, they lack empathy. They aren't really able to feel sorry for someone, to feel this kind of thing that they want to help someone because they do. They usually just, I'm going to help you because I want something from you. So such people, they can do anything. They can, even such thing as family could be totally unimportant to them. It's always about their ego because they resonate on the ego level. They cannot really connect to this higher self. So it's always about their well-being, not the others.
I'm not going to go into the gory details, but I had an experience myself today, and they have an immediate resentment towards you. It's almost like they can see you, they can feel you, and they feel intimidated, the fact that you're pretty much conscious of their presence. Very interesting.
I
You
had
know,
this situation with someone who has such soul that I couldn't do a session with someone from his family because he was so angry and he didn't really want me to help this lady, that he really started doing terrible things to her, and like she had to shut the door so he doesn't attack her. So they could get really aggressive.
Wow, wow. You know, when you were saying earlier about the 12-strand DNA, and in your interpretation, I mean, the average at the moment, the human beings, what are they kind of what number would you throw in terms of the strand DNA that they're operating on at the moment? And is it on a scale? Is it going up?
Yeah, actually, it could be more than 12 strands, because the 12 strands is like the average for the angelic human, like an earth seed, someone who has a purely earth soul. But we
Yeah.
have a lot of, let's say, hybrids, but not in the negative meaning. It's like someone who has some part of the earth genes, but some part of the, let's say, like gens from Andromeda or Sirius. It's all about this galaxy and even other galaxies in the higher context. And those people who are star seeds, they actually have even more than 12. You can have up to 48 strands. And those who have more than 24 are actually called the indigo children. And I'm one of them. So yeah, they are basically here on the planet to hold the specific frequency to ensure that this Earth is going to ascend. So there are many people with different genetics because, as I said, each one of us holds a unique template and it's completing the planet as a whole. And this is enabling us to actually, in the future, be able to reach these stargates and help this planet find its way home.
Yeah. I mean, would you like to? What's this? We have a question here.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing with the psychopaths. So let me tell you this way, because the ability to be like, to feel love, gratitude, grace, it's all a frequency. And to be able to feel this in your body, in your mind, in your soul, you need to have specific codes in your DNA, which are like corresponding to love, grace, gratitude. But all the distortions in the DNA are also related to the negative feelings like hate, aggression, lack of empathy, apathy. So the psychopaths, yes, they could not have a soul or have the soul of the fallen angel, like a reptile or a draconian. But most importantly, they just don't have these specific codes which enable them to feel love, empathy, and such.
Yeah. And when you start getting more conscious of yourself and how you interact with everyone, because everything has a feedback, and when you become more empathetic yourself, you can see how you're affecting everything. So when you become even more conscious, because whether you're conscious or not, you're leaving impressions, whether it's negative, positive. So it's really exciting when you understand how the patterns work, because you can engage and leave very powerful markers, right? So when you become more aware of your abilities, because moments like this.
Yes,
Yeah.
because like each one of us has this unique DNA template, and the more codes we activate, we are actually spreading it to the planet, to the planetary grids, and to other people, causing the activations in their own bodies. So this is wonderful. The more we activate, the more we are actually feeling.
What if I can throw a question in, myself? What's reference to like ley lines? Are you aware of what exactly how they operate and how people can get more involved with ley lines? And where
Yes,
are they? And how do you know there's one running under the house, or how do we know? I mean, I was told that where there's important building structures, usually, that
usually
usually.
yes, because there are some stargates on the planet and they are located on the ley lines and on the axiatonal lines, because the ley lines are running horizontal and the axiatonal lines are running vertical. And these specific crossover points between these ley lines are usually where the stargates are located. I will maybe give some examples. One of them is the Machu Picchu, Giza. What else? We also have one in the Arizona or in France, the Montsegur Castle. So, and also in Norway, we have many wonderful cathedrals. The place, when I say souls, they usually go to a cathedral in Norway, which is like kind of hanging in the Earth atmosphere. So it's actually a wonderful place to go. There's like a crystal temple where you could project into. Anyways, because we could ask ourselves, like, why did our soul choose to be born in here, like, I don't know, in Hungary or in America or in Australia? That's because our DNA, the codes in our DNA are corresponding directly to the planetary grids we are located in. And some people, many are actually supposed to be the grid workers, meaning they have to energize the planetary grids, also work, because the planet also has distortions. So they could work with the planet, connect with the planetary grids, heal them. I have met so many grid workers, and they are amazing, and they actually feel the frequencies coming from these grids, and they know what exactly the grids in the area need. So yeah, basically the connection that we have with this planet is also related to the ley lines and the specific energetic points which are on this planet.
Yeah, and what in your opinion would accelerate the memory recall in knowing the essence of why one opens their eyes? Is what enhances the connectivity? I mean, we talked about a bit about food, and I suppose to be with high frequency people can also radiate and be vibrant connection, right? Because I mean, we're not silly billies, are we? We can differentiate a person who's resonating on a higher frequency than a lower frequency. But it's important if a person's running at low, but because the way I operate is I don't do it so much in words, because words can have limitations. It creates a lot of division. Um, it's words at the end of the day, but it's the frequency that you hold is so much more powerful. But it's the way you say it, because you're emitting certain tone. And do you
Yes.
know? Are you familiar with tones? Like I said, if I say I love you, I love you. I mean, which one which one is the real one?
I do feel like the intention that we give when we speak is the most important, because languages, all of the languages have its distortions as well. A long time ago, there was one language, one universal language that everyone was speaking. And this language was the unity. You just needed to say some specific tones, and you would also bring the frequencies from the universe. So language had power. But because of the event, it's called the Babel Massacre. It's in the Bible, where the God messed up the languages. Well, it wasn't quite God. It was a strong energetic attack, a sonic pulse, which hit all of the people on Earth. It was this strong. And ever since then, people started experiencing in their DNA something called the checkboard mutation, where they have some missing codes left, and the codes also responsible for one language that they spoke. So ever since then, we became a lot more divided, because we didn't only lose like the memory about ourselves, our soul purpose, but also the ability to speak one language, which was uniting everyone.
Wow. Because when I connect with people who claim, and they do it admirably. I mean, like the plate. Let's say, I think that is it from the ninth dimension. I'm not sure, but they talk about a certain light language, which I mean, we're not talking about this sort of language, are we? Because within
You could say so, actually. I mean, light language could have many forms. It could be an energetic signature. It could be a drawing, actually, drawing some different, any kind of things that you feel out, and it's going out so spontaneously. Or it could be also like, yes, some tones have these light language forms. Some prayers do. I mean, of course, not any kind of religious prayers, but more of these spiritual ones. So it's very important how you actually feel you want to express yourself. Again, it's about intention, but light language is not about just language and speaking. It has many different concepts.
I mean, let's not kid ourselves. I mean, certain symbolism. I mean, it is powerful, isn't it? I mean, there's some programming behind it, because it's kind of like emitting a certain frequency.
I mean,
Can
the
one,
biggest issue, with people who are stuck in some religious beliefs, like really, really stuck, is that they have this symbolism that they worship.
the cross.
Yes, I just wanted to say that the cross, this six-pointed star, all sorts of things like that. There are so many distortions when it comes to these symbols, because it's not like they created them. They actually reversed them, just like they reversed the swastika, the Nazis.
Swastika, yeah.
So actually, it was the symbol of our galaxy in the Slavic beliefs. I don't really think that the Slavs were right in everything when it comes to this Vedic knowledge, but I respect them for the fact that they believed in a lot more than later the religions. But yes, it's basically that they were always trying to reverse, just like they are reversing the codes in our DNA, the energies. They aren't anything new, they are just being reversed, so everything is going like in the opposite way.
Wow. I'm so really impressed in the fact that, I mean, what is a biological age at the end? I mean, you're so young. I mean, you're if it's okay to ask your age.
Let it be a mystery.
Okay, but I know I feel that but it's the amount of information that you hold. It's very, very powerful. I mean, it's no kidding. Nobody has a crystal ball. Do you think that people, because I get people here on the platform, and I'm not in a position to say, yeah, that's right, that's wrong, but I stay quite neutral. And what I look at is, yeah, that's authentic, that's not so authentic, because everybody is kind of interpreting the energies and frequencies, because I take it no two souls are the same frequency, correct?
Yes, and each one has a unique frequency, just like it has a unique DNA template. I keep talking about the DNA template all the time, because it's like our personal encryption. And everything which is in there is reflecting what we are in this body. And basically, when people are coming across a certain information, they have these filters, the mental, the emotional body filters, and each information is going through this filter. So if someone has a lot of them, also put, during the education, the schooling system, which is so terrible, And it's actually, it's programming children. I have my younger brother, and I have to regularly like check if he has any sorts of program put into the brain, because he was once put under the mind control system, because I was like, that's not my brother, that's not the way he's acting. So children are such victims when it comes to this modern education system. But our task nowadays is to clear these filters, so we could be like an open book, and try to actually let every information flow through us, and keep this one which is resonating with us.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because Bioactivator is an open source. We are here to share, and and our ethos is do no harm. I mean, occasionally I don't get very personal. Everyone to themselves to be constructive in their criticism. I mean, that's the name of how we grow. But if there are people who are religious, for example, and they're kind of observing our frequency, do you think they're a little bit anti to what we're saying? Because I mean, there's a lot of nectar in the Bible in terms of substance. There is, but it's the clarity in which things are put in terms of into the books. But there are sort of like certain things can sound a bit paradoxical as well. They can have one meaning, it can have two meanings.
Let me tell you, I respect everyone as long as they don't hurt others. I respect religious people. I was just mainly saying that they have a lot of programs, because religion is programming. It's like, all the religions are mainly about the dogmas. They tell you what you need to believe in, not really leaving a space for being like, for putting something of your own. That's the main problem about religions, that they are very closed. Like, if you're a Muslim, you're not really going to be open to Christians. And that's causing the divisions. That's the main issue of the religions, the divisions and the programming. Because I think that people need to have something to believe in. Because faith, in terms of being open-minded and knowing that there is this something bigger, something infinite that has created us, that's just beautiful. And words cannot express this enough, how amazing this is. But the main issue with the religions is that they were distorted a lot. I had this incarnation where, because in the past there were specific groups trying to actually bring some beliefs, but like the true spirituality, we were mainly teaching about the source, how you could come back to the source, how to raise your frequency, something which I am doing right now. And I was doing this on the Middle East. These were like the original teachings of Islam, even though it wasn't called like that. It was like a group consisting of 4 people, and we were just like coming to the desert and connecting with the stars, and the stars were giving us answers.
Wow.
And I do remember that there were so many people actually being open for this, but this ended very catastrophically with my life being ended very quickly because of these groups which were trying to introduce some really distorted control beliefs there, and we see that nowadays.
Do you also, thank you for sharing that. Do you feel also that the light that's coming, that's showering the planet right now, do you feel in your heart that it's here to purify and bring a certain frequency whereby you can't go against a certain flow, or with reference to the free will, or is because I've got mixed feeling, because for me the protocol should be do no harm, but you can see that harm has been done. Quite a serious amount of harm's been done. You've got eyes to see, and you can feel the anguish, the pain, the resentment, the bitterness, the rivalry. There's so many words to describe the bitterness that's out there. And I must say, if I, just for the record, that one of the reasons why Bioactivate is because I myself, I had a phenomenal awakening January of this year. So I've got a new set of eyes, and it was very painful for me to see. I've always been empathetic, but to see the level of how people are broken, that's why I thought, what can we do to help to build a bridge?
Yeah, I
To
mean, I remember myself a few months ago when I got the similar awakening as you did. And I was in the bus and I was just like looking around and seeing like, wow, that's just
you cry,
tough.
doesn't it? Like, because I can hear them. I can. It's almost like I can almost taste. Some people are like suicidal. It's like they're not obviously doing it, but they're like they're they're very
You
very.
know, they lost something very important, which is hope. They lost hope for the better. It's kind of as if they have already given up. That's the saddest thing. But to answer your question, which you asked previously, I do feel like this frequency is kind of working like a vacuum cleaner. It's
Right.
supposed to remove all the negativity. But
Cleanse.
in order to make this clearing happen, people have karmic imprints. So some of these imprints have to manifest in order for the positive change to occur. Because some people say that world is not fair. Yeah, from the 3D perspective, it might seem not fair. But everything is a result of our previous actions. All of it. So everything is fair, and that's why there are so many things happening right now, because we kind of need to release these karmic imprints, and that's also something I am helping with on the energetic level.
I had a beautiful soul here not that long ago. His name is Rob from One Truth, and we're going to continue with our conversation Friday the 28th at 10 a.m. Eastern European Summer Time. And he was talking about a plasma event, and he was quite specific with the date. I mean, I'm extremely open-minded, and when I first met his energy, I was a little bit on the defensive side, which is good. But at the same time, I opened up even more. Do you think somebody? I mean, has anybody got a crystal ball? I mean, can somebody forecast an event? And you, in your interpretation, with your beautiful frequency, have you heard of this terminology, a plasma event, a certain time, like next year on a certain month?
I heard
Something.
about it, even though I'm more into the progressive changes, which means there are some very strong events happening even right now, but it's all on the energetic level. In order to some strong changes to occur, something strong needs to happen first on the energetic level, and it's actually good that it's happening there, because we wouldn't like another war or anything or any kind of another reset. It's mainly about people adjusting slowly to these frequencies. The date which I think is important is November this year, because that's when the crystal spiral and the Metatronic spiral, they are, let's say, coming across each other right now, and we will see which one is going to win. Because in 2012 it was the crystal spiral which won. That's why we are here. There was no cataclysm, and we started getting access to the plasma frequencies. But now I have a very strong feeling we are also going to be successful this time. All people who are here working consciously with the planet, the guardians supporting all of us. But again, it's like also a matter of free will, which spiral we want to go into.
I mean, thank you for sharing that. Fukushima, you remember, like in Japan, when the nuclear power station was leaking severe amounts of radiation into the oceans. What happened? Because the last point I remember, it was like panic stations. It was it was never under control, as far as we were concerned. And then suddenly it went completely silent. Do you have any connectivity to that at all? And if so, it
I
might be.
haven't looked into this specific one, but even when it comes to the Chernobyl, there are many theories that it even really didn't happen.
I was going to say
that
that
it was just like a fear again.
To create fear. It's like the
Yes,
Twin Towers.
it's a matter to create fear, because what is interesting, I live in Poland, so I'm very close to what is happening on the east.
Yeah.
Let's call it like that.
Yeah.
And what is funny, that when it started in March last year, they just stopped talking about the virus, and suddenly there was another topic that they are still continuing. So I don't really trust them. I think the most important thing right now is to focus on your own space, where you don't surround yourself with this fear, because even if there is something going on, there is not much you could do about it, being in this position. It's what the best thing you could do is to spread the positive energy, the positive frequency, what we are doing right now, because that's the real power.
Absolutely, because there's so much fake journalism out there, and that's why I feel most of my pain is gone for many positive reasons. One, it was to close the box television I'm talking about. Yeah, it was like, occasionally I look just to see the amount of bad,
like once a month, just to see if anything has changed.
yes,
Right,
what's going on now, is because the representation of truth is like non-existent.
What is funny, whenever I just take a look just for a second, I'm like, but nothing has changed. They still talk about the same thing. So
yeah,
so this is happening everywhere. The governments, being controlled, they just, I do believe they just have this long-term plan, the agenda that they have to fulfill. So they're just going with it and thinking that people believe in it. Well, I feel like less and less people believe in it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do you feel as well with these? I mean, I certainly do. I mean, with the subtle changes because your observation is key. For example, someone might say to me, that person is sick, that person is mentally not good. Well, I don't advocate to that. I don't believe in sickness. What I believe in is blockages, where the energy is not flowing very well.
Sickness is like a state of energetic disharmonization. Just like, because why the mental illness is called the mental illness? Because the cause is in the mental body.
Software. Are we talking about software now here in terms of a computer, or?
I'm talking about mental illnesses like bipolar or schizophrenia. It's all lying in the area of the mental body as well as the etheric body, because that's where they could actually give you some chips or anything which is starting to program you and change your personality. So yeah, there is nothing such as the illness. It's always about the state of your mind, body, and the spirit.
Do you feel like, okay, so November you're saying, yeah? I mean, it's a great start, really. And then how long do you feel it's going to last? Is it one box for all, or is it like everybody's going to have a unique, relatively unique experience in how they hold their frequencies? It could be, you know, a little bit up and down, or
I mean,
um,
I do believe, and I have experienced that many people are, who are feeling the frequencies, they sometimes feel up, and sometimes they feel a bit more down. It's all the process, because we are all clearing those who actually decided to take on this opportunity to connect with the planet at this wonderful time. So they might feel worse and they might feel better during the specific times. There are some specific configurations on the planet when it comes to the Merkaba fields.
that's a
And
nice.
because the Merkaba field is the electromagnetic field, it composes of the electrical and the magnetic spiral, and they are all spinning. We have our personal Merkaba fields, the planet has, the galaxy has, the universe has, and so on. And in May, if I remember correctly, that will be May 27th to May 29th, we've got something called the Hitaro, and this is the peak of the electrical Merkaba spinning. And during this peak, there could be a lot of things happening, a lot of energy changes. And another peak, which is the magnetic peak, we've got in August, on the 12th of August. And I'd like to mention something interesting here, because have you heard of the Philadelphia experiment, the Montauk project?
Yes.
So
That.
both of them occurred on August. And
Mm.
Philadelphia was in 1943, and the Montauk was in 1983. So there's the 40 years of gap between these two. And those are actually coming in cycles, meaning that every 20 years we have like these bigger peaks, let's say, because we've got the annual ones and we've got these bigger peaks. And this is actually when these Merkaba fields are spinning so quickly, this is creating different changes in the space, in the reality, and that's like the dimensional blending experiments. So what they did actually during the Philadelphia experiment was that the zetas, the zeta reticuli, they opened different wormholes to our planet and their black hole system, and that enabled some specific things to occur. And they made it even more powerful during the Montauk project. So that's really actually exciting, because this year we've got another peak, because it happens like we've got the 40 years and the 20 years peak. And the last one was in 2003. And luckily, nothing serious happened. And now we've got in 2023. So a lot of things could happen, and there could be a lot of attempts to actually create another wormhole.
Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting indeed. Yeah. What do you know about the word referendum? Do you feel that it's important for the people to come and create a referendum, because like to give their voices to a particular guardianship whereby again the ethos is exactly like this activation platform, which is purely do not harm anyone and do not impede on the freedom of others, because there is an outfit out there which it's be representative of the people for the people. Do you know of such organizations yourself? Do you think that a certain unified, powerful body of this guardianship could be a very powerful vessel to lift humanity to another higher place, shall we
Yes,
say?
I mean, that would be something amazing, if there weren't like most people, like most democratic voting systems, you have like you either choose this group or you choose that group, and you don't really have any choice. But if there was like the harmonious way to actually choose people who can create something wonderful, that would be actually a good way. And I do believe that that we would also get some support from the other interstellar races, which
So
actually have this wonderful system called the synocracy, where everyone is like not just tolerant, but they have this higher understanding that each person comes from the source. We all do, and that even if there are misunderstandings, it's also about understanding that each entity is on other stage of evolution. So I do believe that they would also be able to teach us a lot. And when it comes to such groups, I'm more into, let's say, the spiritual beings. So I work directly with a group called the Alhambra Council, and they are directly related to the internal creation, the 8 core plasma suns on which everything was created, and we actually live inside this huge sun, everything that exists. So those beings are just pure love, pure frequency, and they are here to help, but we also need to be able to ask for help.
absolutely, very, very powerful. So again, there's going to be like certain labels and words, but for me, how does the word ascended master resonate with you? And if it does resonate in the most positive way, what is an ascended master? Do you know much about ascended masters?
Yes. Uh,
Yeah.
I could say I am one. The thing is that the ascended master is because this is, it could have many negative meanings, like someone thinking he's supposed to be like a guru. There are no gurus. There are just people who could inspire. And the ascended masters are actually the souls which ascended from this planet and like connected with the source, but they decided to come back again. And they have already went through this path. They are just repeating it. Thus, they also support the humanity in showing them this way.
Yeah. And do you feel, because I do, and I feel, why not do it now? We're going with the free flow, right? So although I had the pleasure of talking to you just so that we can acquaint a bit more with our energies, yeah, I feel very connected to you personally. And we did kind of tally with this, that we must have done something like this before, maybe on a different planet in a different constellation. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, that's really, really powerful. Because so do you know quite a few ascended masters yourself? I mean, other than yourself, possibly myself. I mean, there are other people who
Yes, I
um
have connected with quite a few. I was actually helping this one lady who's it's like many people might not agree with it, but Reiki is not quite true and has some distorted coding.
what
It's
is it?
actually
What
Reiki.
Reiki is not
Yes,
okay.
because it's using this distorted current uh, to actually maybe cause some healing at first, but it's actually causing more harm than good. And yeah, I was assisting this lady because she was terribly attacked, because she was actually recreating this whole Reiki science, and creating these original codes being aligned with the Christ level and all of that. And from what I know, she was actually sending them also to the planetary grids, so it could come to the collective consciousness. So this is something wonderful.
Yeah, yeah. So you'd be happy to share with us, maybe you might have access to a list of names that you could share with us in due course, like some names of people that you
I
associate.
mean, I do believe that this should remain confidential, because everyone is getting, everyone is coming out in the right time. It's not my thing to decide for others which names I'm going to mention. So maybe let's keep it confidential. That's how at least I perceive it.
Yeah, it will be like a gradual, step by step, if and
Yeah,
when
just
we.
like, for 3 years I was quiet, then deciding to come out more. So I do believe that everyone has their own time, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely, perfectly said. What? So you were like for 3 years. So what were you waiting for? A little call, a divine
For a
timing?
sign, for a sign that it's time to
Are
actually
you
start talking, because you know, there are many forces trying to stop us.
okay?
And in my job, I have experienced all sorts of attacks on me.
Wow.
People actually being like, what you're doing cannot be real, and sending some people along my way to actually check on me, and then later trying to get into my biofield. I actually experienced 2 months ago and a direct attack from the Metatronics, because there was someone who didn't trust me because I just kindly said that I don't think we resonate. Just like everyone has this right to say something like that, you know. And he sent this lady to check on me if there's anything that is controlling me. And when I found out, I just, you know, like visited this lady in the energetic space, and I told her like, don't do this to me again. And she started attacking me. So, you know, you have to be very careful with what you're saying. You actually need to protect your field all the time, because there are many people who are coming out into public, and they easily fall into different infiltrations because they aren't secured enough, and they have good intentions because they want to help, also speak the truth, but you actually need to have a lot of inner strength to be able to do that and to be able to avoid these attacks.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's
So
wonderful.
that's what I have been focusing on protecting my biofield, raising my frequencies until I actually felt like it's the time to come out.
Yeah, and so it's good to see you because that's a little feedback in itself that the frequencies are getting higher. That's another
Yes.
observation viewpoint. So that's anybody out there. That's a bit of a celebration. Yeah, because I have an ascended master, which I'm sure he'd be okay if I mention his name. His name is Rick. I don't know if you heard of Rick Jewers, but
You mentioned me about him on one of
yeah,
our talks. Mhm.
yeah, he's had a vision with global people's monetary uh, system and divine simplified divine plan, and I completely advocate to that myself. I'm a great supporter, and I just like it's in its referendum stage at the moment. That's why I thought, you know, because people need to come together,
Yes.
and it's for the people, by the people, and when the frequency is high enough, holding it consistently long enough, then all that is not real, all that's not, let's say when we talk about things which is organic and inorganic, things that are not meant to be there, they'll just begin to collapse. And you used a wonderful word earlier about the 0 point field, because yeah, I mean, it's because most people are not anchored in the present moment because they're in so much pain and turmoil. So there are future versions or versions of them in the past that live. They're either living in the past or they live in the future. Very very difficult sometimes to live in the present moment because it's very difficult. But when you start celebrating and understanding the essence of who you are, so that you're conscious, super conscious of when you open your eyes, you can affect the whole planet.
Yes, and
The whole,
it's basically like the whole mechanics of manifestation, because our point of action is always the present. And by influencing the present, we have the influence, the impact on the past and on the future. So, working from that 0 point, manifesting, projecting, is actually our most powerful tool that we have. So, I do recommend everyone to get into that 0 point space, because you could actually change your life with that.
yeah, and you'll be affecting every living organism as well. I mean, it's like from the mineral plant, the animal kingdom, and it's all about bringing love, and to operate from an unconditional point of view, and not to institutionalize it in any shape or form. And I feel that the best way to, like, I feel I'm talking for you as well here, is not to bring the system down. And I hate to use words like upgrades, but it's a case of raising the frequency. And people need to, you have to create, well, you create that zone where people are so relaxed to be in your company, they don't feel that you're there to hurt them.
Yes,
So you create
so
that
they
beautiful.
could trust you.
This is
And
powerful.
it's actually about like raising a frequency, because as I said, there are two spirals, the Metatronic and the crystal spiral, and it's like two paths separating.
Mm.
And if we raise the frequency high enough on that crystal path, we will become invisible for the Metatronic.
Yeah.
That means we will actually be invisible to the system. So it's all, the work of raising the frequency is not just about us, just about other people. It's about the whole planet. If we just have the open heart, and like, let's say we are walking in the forest, if we feel attached to a certain tree, we can hug it, we can connect with it, and it could give us so much wisdom. So basically, have your heart open and you can interact with the world.
Wow.
And change it for the better.
Would you like, if not today, I would love to invite you again in the foreseeable future, which is always anchored in the present. So we'll go with the flow whenever,
Totally, I would love that.
because I'm excited about you as a person, and I'm also excited about the activations that we can be doing. I mean, do you fancy doing one now, or do you feel, for the next time, or do you feel
Aren't
that?
we doing one right now already? Because I do feel so much energy in my heart space, like it's about to, it's exploding ever since we started this this conversation. So I do
I think
believe that we are activating
you
by
said that.
now.
Absolutely, totally agree with you. Do you fancy taking on some questions? Because
Totally.
let's just see what's going on here, because we've got some questions. So if you can just bear with me, let's start with. We did that one. Let's have a look at this wonderful information. Impressive, Olivia. Thank you both so much. Love you, brother. Okay, let's get some feedback. Very inspirational. Okay, what's this one? Children are also victims of the non-consensual experimentation of the minimal control technologies, ACA. Gan, how do you pronounce that? Gan stalking. Mind control technologies are frequency weapons. Yeah, I mean, it's. Do you want to add any flavor to?
Yes, I mean that it's again like the frequencies, like because we've got like naturally the energies that the high frequencies are coming to the planet and we are taking them, but they are attacking us with very low frequencies, like the 5G, for example. This is a weapon because it's like if we have some chips and we've got this pulse coming from 5G, then it can easily create some kind of mind control. So it's all interconnected, and we are being fed with all kinds of low frequencies, mainly because of this radiation everywhere.
Yeah, to separate.
Yeah,
Not so
to
that we.
separate us from our inner self.
Yeah, no, that's really powerful. Division. There we are. Divide and conquer. It works since the concept was invented. Hmm. Right. It's done via harp. I mean, what do you know about? Do you feel this harp, was that real? Was there?
Let me tell you, I was there. I mean, I had some projections where I was in that space where there is this harp, and something called the net field, which is like the artificial field blocking our higher consciousness. And I saw all these devices flying everywhere and throwing different pulses. So it's all real. And even, the sky, it's a projection. It's
Wow.
like there is a specific device. I was there actually yesterday. There's this specific device, like we've got a field of water, and they are like throwing light on it, and it's spreading specific projections. What I
Wow.
first saw was like the Jupiter being projected on the sky. Uh,
Wow.
and they are also creating clouds. They have all these technologies, so there is no weather actually. There
They
are some
invent.
climate programmers, let's say, that, but if they wanted, there could be snow on Sahara, or there could be like floods somewhere else where it's not usually. So it's all programmed.
What percentage of the world's population would you say is in a place where, do you think people choose to be ignorant, or do you feel that we were under a spell for a while? And if it's a case of now that spell has that there was a force, a weapon, not necessarily a bioweapon, energetic weapon, shall we say, that they were using. Because I looked into a little bit about crowd controls and things like that.
Yeah.
They got technologies where they don't need to police really. They could just send a frequency, and that will affect the mood of the people.
I
Because
totally agree with that, but let me answer for it in a more interesting way. Because the mind control programs, that's obvious, we have already mentioned that. But why did we have the two world wars? Because the easiest weapon is fear, causing fear. The frequency of fear is destroying everything. So at the end of the 19th century, we actually had a lot of frequency raising, many people becoming self-aware. And in order to kill this spiritual movement, they started the First and the Second World War, and many, many, many experiments during that. So, so we will see what they are going to try to do this time. But the real reason why they decided for these wars was also mainly about lowering this frequency.
wow, 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 wow. Let's take another question. Children are the best targets to get energy from, and that's scary. How many are kidnapped by high status people who claims to be our IDK protectors? Everything is messed up. Yeah, I mean, I had a bit of a rude awakening because the extent how deep one wants to go into the rabbit hole, because through my own personal download, shall we say, I felt that they were exporting children to different planets. Because I
Yes,
followed Sheldon Neidel for a while as well, which I've read all his books about first contact and stuff like that, where you don't have to be a child to be abducted, but
the
seriously.
worst country when it comes to when it comes to children being kidnapped is like actually Australia, because it's directly under the control of the draconian races. Of course, it's Africa, it's Europe, but it doesn't mean they are being kidnapped in Australia. It's like they're being brought there, and from that place they are being spread to different planets. The reason why Australia had this huge lockdown was actually that they were doing so many operations out there. So basically, it's Australia and Africa, but Africa, they aren't really taking them to other planets, but actually using in underground, like let's say underground places where they could actually, mine gold or things like that that they need to sustain their planets.
Now, this is an interesting question because,
Yes.
like blocking, but my understanding is that if you can raise your frequency high enough and keep it consistent, and your macabre, and because it's about holding the light, especially with these new frequencies. So the more you can hold that light in you, it's again what we talked about earlier, your intention to create. What is
Yes.
it creating? Visualization. So
That's basically the same. If you raise your frequency, your biofield gets stronger.
mm,
What is important when it comes, like, coming back to the topic of children, uh, having a birth in, like, giving birth to a child in the hospital is probably the worst thing that could be done.
yeah,
Because first of all, they give the vaccination. They also give this. They say that they do it so they prevent some illness, but they do some specific eye drops to the child basically gets born and it just gets these drops, and this is the reason why we have so many problems with the eyes nowadays. Also these drops and the pulses being spread from the sun. But yeah, basically it's the child when it's born and the soul is not fully embodied yet. It's very important to make sure it has a peaceful and safe environment. So
I think we've answered that question, but if you want to add a bit more to it, how do you do that? How do you block them when you're being
you
a
I mean, if you feel some kind of fear for no reason, like when you wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, something is out there, it's good to just say, like, I'm not afraid, go away, because I don't want you here. It's always about expressing your free will.
yeah,
Because if the words have power, so if you
yeah,
actually, with the power of your intention, you say firmly, go away, then they basically must do that.
yeah, and it begins with self, doesn't it? I mean, because you do a lot of clearing yourself, and you know when you feel heavy and you feel you've picked up certain energies from
Yes.
somewhere, and water, go ground yourself, earth yourself, like we talked about. Go and hug a tree, hug a person. How about that for starters? I mean, when are we going to start hugging each other? It's almost, I mean, I met a guy recently, right? He had a certain stench, he had financial issues, and he's helped me out a lot here in Bulgaria. He's always helped me in the garden. I could always call on him and come. And he was messed up. He looked really rough. The fact that I was even talking to him, people were passing by, they were almost looking down at me for even talking to him. Now, at what stage will humanity change its ability to be more loving? Because this
I
guy
mean,
was born
if
like
we
this.
want this world to be human, we need to be human, right? Uh, because that's something what I've noticed is that the past, it was the past. I remember my previous lives, and what is the most, like, touching in this is that even though people had this, maybe they weren't always conscious of everything, there was still a lot of this empathy. But after these two world wars, technically we have more human rights, blah blah blah, but it feels like everyone is very egocentric. That
Mm,
is slowly changing,
mm.
but it's very very, like, concerning that people are very selfish, honestly.
Yeah, we have to correct. She knows what she's talking about, the frequencies. It's beautiful to feel that too. Um, they are controlling our bodies, minds, and spirits. Spirits. Very smart and very well educated lady. Impressive. Good job. There you are.
Thank you
Positive.
very much.
Thank you for that. Do you want to read the next one or shall I read it?
You
It's
can go ahead and read. I'm also
it's comfort for mind to be ignorant because realization brings not only consciousness but fear, lack of security. Let's
That's like the first stage of awakening, because if you're, like, living in a system, working from 9 to 5, uh, you know um, having these problems of the everyday life that you need to take care of, it's getting difficult to actually have a moment to sit down and just think, or stop thinking.
yeah, I mean
um,
no,
and then it just gets difficult. And when you actually have this experience, because for many people it could be a traumatic experience which will open their eyes, and then they are afraid that everything is a lie. But that's also passing. The more we raise our frequency, and we realize that we cannot like directly change the world in a moment, but we can help in assisting it and clearing our space.
I use this, beautifully said. I mean, I use this analogy sometimes. It's like the rat race mentality. There's a saying, if you win the rat race, you're still a rat. Okay? You got to come out of that box. Okay? And for me, being empathetic, it means to feel the pain of another sentient being, to see yourself through what they're using their eyes to see. What impact are you having? What impression are you leaving behind? You know? And if you want to raise the frequency, we can do this in the flash, because it's a case of like feeling the pain, activating your ability to feel another.
There are many spiritual communities where everything is like, be positive, no negative thoughts. I don't exactly agree with that, because why are you feeling angry sometimes during your spiritual process? Why are you feeling fear? That's because you're processing something, and that's not a good thing to push it into your subconscious. It's about working through this trauma, this trapped emotion, to understand what it is, where it comes from, and how you could heal it.
Because it's kind of regressed, and it's sort of like you got to find a way of letting it free, so that it sort of it brings a lot of calmness, because it's kind of manipulating you. And yeah, no, that's very powerful. So other tools that people can use, for example, certain breathing exercises they can, because is there a right modality? I think most modalities are very good. They're very positive modalities. I mean, I've been using a technique called Paidalaji. It's a Chinese method where you're working with the pressure points on your body, you're stretching, you're breathing, flexibility. So, the movement. There are powerful, real powerful techniques you can do. And of course, stillness.
Something which we have to be careful with is, there are many people unconsciously often, but wanting to deceive. There are many techniques related especially to the chakras, which are actually putting them on the reversal. So it's good to be very, very careful when it comes to all sorts of healing modalities. Right now, it is recommended to work mostly with the plasmas. There are some teachings there called the Tantri Ahura teachings. And they are all about activating your plasma body, and it has an impact on the light body as well.
Right. Okay. Very powerful. Okay. It's them, the slave masters versus the slaves. Waking up is the first stage. Being able to break free is different story. Okay.
And it still continues.
Yeah, I mean we've just passed the hour and a half. Doesn't time fly when you're having fun? I mean, it's like, is there something you want to add? I mean, we can start slowly but surely, maybe wrapping it up a bit. But I was going to say, is there anything else that you want to add today, that you feel?
Well,
No?
I actually, I was going with the flow, just like you told me. So,
Okay.
it's like you mentioned one topic, I'm adding something, and the whole story is, being complete. What people are missing these days, and I notice it on my healing sessions when I assist others, because I clear the distortions. It's like, you have a room which is messed up, and it's like I remove everything which is dirty there. I help to clean it up. And you have a clean room, and you decide, whether you want to decorate it with something or you make it dirty again. It's up to you. I guess you understand the metaphor. And the biggest issue is when people actually lack this this self-confidence. If you don't believe in yourself, you don't really believe in anything else. You're not certain of anything. And the only thing that you can be certain is that you have a soul and your own power to manifest your own reality. And if you have this strong realization, you don't just know it, you feel it deep inside your heart, then that is the power. And if you're lacking this, that's the first thing you need to start off with.
Because it doesn't really perfectly say, I mean, truth doesn't need validation, but what I find with truth is a living, breathing organism that is growing all the time. I don't think it's being parked anywhere for a long period of time where it's collecting dust. So it's, yesterday's truth is today's, I mean, it's not resonating. It doesn't mean it was wrong necessarily, although there are universal truths, that do no harm and stuff. But the thing is, like, we mustn't get the things. We got to look at what is organic, what is not inorganic, because I find things that are going against you are things which is inorganic, which is like causing you the disconnection. So you just it's quite simple to work it out. You just try to bring yourself into that place where don't judge too much from good or bad. The temptation
It's
is there.
simple and not so simple at the same time. Sorry for interrupting, but if there are so many programs inside you, then it gets very difficult. So people actually have to start working with that first, to actually clear that space where they could have silence. Because if that space is dirty, you won't find that peace, that silence.
Powerful
And
word.
I just would like to refer to that comment where there was this thing about the plasma verse.
Yes, I will revert back to that. Hold on.
That was like 2 comments ago. Yes, this one. Because that's a very nice word, actually. It resonates with me a lot. I haven't heard about it, but the plasma verse, yeah. Because Earth is actually going to the plasma verse. It's going to the internal creation called the deity planes, and is going to align with its version, which consists of plasma. So we are making this wonderful connection, and that's wonderful news.
It's so wonderful to be here, and powerful words. Powerful words. If you don't believe in yourself, you don't believe in anything. So, and power to the people who they're here to really, again, work with a frequency that do no harm, and really to free the minds of the people where they feel trapped, and this, is a good place to start. I'm sure there are other positive platforms out there as well, and in due course, I would be honored to invite Olivia back when we feel necessary and the calling to have your beautiful presence back, and we will do another session and send
That would be a pleasure.
So thank you so much. Well appreciated. We really like your energy, and we look forward to to see you again. I mean, I'll give you the last if you want to say something.
I mean, I just want to thank everyone for listening to us. I'm glad that there were some of you who actually resonated with me and my energy. It was my first time doing something like this, but it's great to share my experiences, finding other people who actually resonate with me, because it's also this process that the higher we raise our frequencies, the better works the law of attraction. So we are attracting people who are actually having similar resonance with us, similar level of frequency. So this is a really amazing experience, and thank you for it. I'm grateful to you and the whole universe for allowing this opportunity.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you so much. Thank you. And,
Thank you.
See you soon. See you soon.
See you.
Love.
Bioactivator would like to thank you for your kind support and donations. Through Barrett Tunian's guardianship of this platform, his activation of truth harmonizes, neutralizes, and unblocks the meridians that connect, balance, and purify all that comes in contact. Do no harm is the key that fully opens the heart's voice to be in the union of the I Am presence, and will represent every living organism on the planet whose voice would otherwise not be heard. Remember, the truth will set you free. Do no harm, cause no loss, and do not impose upon the freedom of others. Love, light, and